Good morning, everybody, and good morning, Jean-Francois.
Good morning.
We are very close friends. We are from France together.
Yes.
And it's always been my pleasure to work with you. And I've always been very impressed by the fact that, on one hand, you had a very active career in private practice, and on the other hand, you were also very active at the level of a scientific society, such as ESGE or the French Society, or even more WHO. So it's always mysterious for me to know and to realize how you can combine both. But first, explain what you have done in private practice, because we know your career, your academic career, but your career in private practice, we don't know so much.
You know, my career in private practice started at the end of the internship, because at that time, no choice. The second day of my internship, I did my first gastroscopy. 9 months later, under Itaro Oi, one of the Japanese pioneer of ERCP, I did my first ERCP. But at the same time, I was also doing very basic research on rats, pig, and so on. After 4 years, I have a choice. So I stay in the public hospital, but at that time, there are no matters about your endoscopy, because it was Mandarin, and endoscopy in the public hospital was just a side. I could stay in the intern because in INSERM, because I was basic research and I get a job in INSERM, what is a French Institute for Research, and I could be starting in that case. But doing ERCP and papillotomy, I have a lot of offer from private practice, and one of my hospital, non-profit hospital, Institut Arnaud de Sang, say, come and create the endoscopy unit. So I have very difficult choice. So I stay my career in research, or I move to endoscopy unit, and I moved to endoscopy. And I work in a very special hospital because it's a non-profit. It's very unusual in France. You have teaching hospital like Thierry, you have pure private practice in a hospital with profit and clinic, and this hospital is very particular because it was part of the university for cardiology and so I created this opportunity to create and to complete my endoscopy. And then Claude Ligori, what was the best endoscopist in France at that time, working also in private practice, tell me, oh, you have to come in the French Society for digestive endoscopy. So I start to be general secretary, and I create my unit in Institut Arnaud de Sang, and then I develop both, because working in private practice, I have an opportunity to work with a Japanese engineer to develop equipment, and this huge work in private practice increase every year. You know, it was a very crazy situation, especially for my family. You know, doing a lot of endoscopy, developing with the Japanese, and especially Olympus, more and more endoscoping, especially high definition or at that time, you know, basic video. It's where I developed both, and I have a colleague. And for 40 years, I was really involved in this private practice, and also with a lot of French colleagues, because at that time, in private practice, we have people in Lille, in Marseille, and we work together, and also we move a private practice in the French society, because at that time more people of French society leader was in private practice, and then we decide with René Lambert, your mentor and my friend, to create in the French society both way private practice and teaching hospital, and we create Video Digest. And this, well,
but maybe people from Europe do not know that you were also the president of the unions of specialists in France.
yes,
We are not only speaking about private practice,
Yeah.
we are speaking about organizing private practice in a country like France.
it is my free life. Union leader, from radiologist, surgeon to pediatrician with a very difficult, different income. And especially at that time, we have a coding system. We have a new coding system. And for 3 years, we keep the coding system coming the scientific society, only about, let's say, science, but to have about the same level from a surgical procedure to an endoscopic procedure to radiology. And it was very, very difficult. And when you imagine, the differences between the income, the differences between the organization. And for 12 years, I was union leader in Paris, 3 days a week in Paris, and arguing with the French minister, with the administration. And I learned quite a lot, because at that level, you meet high-level lawyer, high-level healthcare organizer, and I think my best achievement after 3 years of very tough negotiation, the new coding system, the endoscopy should lose, gastroscopy should lose 10%, and colonoscopy 80%. And as a union leader, have the same opportunity to work with various specialties, some with a better reward, some with less. And at the end of this 3 years negotiation, I go directly on the finance minister by some recommendation. I say, okay, I need 700 million of euro to get the coding system online. And the guy in the finance minister, what for? I say, by the time being, the social system give 100 billion to the private endoscopy, so private coding system, and you don't know what you are doing. And say, I give you the coding system, I need 700 because none of my colleagues can lose any income. He said, okay, this is fair. In 5 minutes, say, okay. And then the last evening, because, all these kind of negotiations are completed in the evening of 4 a.m., I told to the Prime Minister, the Health Minister, I told him, what about the endoscopy decrease? He said, oh, Jean-Francois, my best support for the new coding system is an endoscopist, so you cannot lose.
So, okay, nevertheless, congratulations, because to have 3 careers, okay, huh?
Yeah.
You should be well organized. And I admire you because you have been well, and you are probably still well organized, okay,
Yeah.
to manage all these tasks. Now we are at ESGE Days. And so coming back to ESGE, so this is my opinion. I think, of course, ESGE is a scientific society, so everything should be based on science, okay? We should conduct research, we should write guidelines. Nevertheless, I think in the board, we should have people, such as like you, doctors, gastroenterologists, coming from a world of private practice. Because, for many reasons, but first one, we should write guidelines in order for them to be implemented. And implementation of the guidelines is mainly performed, is maybe done by colleagues working in private practice. So the guidelines should be used in private practice. And that's why we need people involved in private practice to make the guidelines easy to be applied. You accept this, I think?
Oh, totally. It's why when we move in a French society with René Lambert, we say we need both. We have two legs. One leg is the teaching hospital, academic career, and one leg practice. We like to be efficient. And Video Digest was built on this part, academic. When I start endoscopy, our paper was mainly case report. When we have the first ESGE in Athens, with Michel Kremer became president, it was very small society, without finance. And the first thing we do with Michel Kremer, we start the first guideline on disinfection, because it was typical. It's a very good example. If you have to make a guideline on science, on education, but the guideline should be applied in daily practice in any endoscopy unit. It's why it's, and the American society, they are more mixed and a bit practice, academic career, and some of colleagues, they are an academic career, then move practice, then come. It's quite important. And for the coding and for the guideline, they are very, very good, and now ESGE too, because it's really important point, These guidelines are useful if they are applied every day by all endoscopy units, even in practice.
Good point. And yes, the president of ESGE are sometimes only working in private practice.
Yeah.
And which is not the case at ESGE, because we are still a little academic. In a sense, I think it's not bad. But nevertheless, we should open our mind and we should open the society to colleagues working in private practice. They should have some influence on the society. And so if you look at now, I think these successful ESGE days, and I think they should also be helpful, not for me as a professor, they should be helpful for all my colleagues working in private practice, and these colleagues working in private practice are finally more helpful than me. They see a lot of patients, and so they should be well trained, and that's why they should influence the way they are trained.
But it's why probably as we create Video Digest in France with René Lambert, because at that time, the endoscopy in the French society, GI society, were very small and not respected. And I think when we decide to create ESGE Day, it's exactly the same, because here it's a very useful meeting for academic, for publication, for paper, but also for practitioner. It's the same that we have in France, and now ESGE Day is perfect.
Yes, and also another reason to combine private practice to academic career or to is the fact that the gastroenterologists, they should be paid at the end. They should be well paid. That means, I think the reimbursement should be at a certain level.
Yeah.
So the scientific society plus the unions, they should fight together, okay, to promote high-quality healthcare and finally to be well paid for this, at least paid at a sufficient level to be able to have disinfection process, because everything is very expensive. It's all expensive, and so that's why we cannot be in the atmosphere when you are working in a scientific committee or society. We should take care on how the procedures are reimbursed.
Yes, there are 2 points on that subject. First point, when you work in practice, of course, most of the endoscopy we are in private hospital or clinic hospital. You understand the cost of the management. You understand the choice of what kind of procedure. Because in France and in my hospital, we never been obliged to don't do ESD, for example. What is ESD? Is very important for the patient, it's very important for endoscopy, but the reimbursement of ESD is still very low compared to a per GI endoscopy. And when you are in practice, sometimes in some hospital or clinic organization, the chief tell you, the director tell you, Dr. Reno, that procedure, you cannot do that because we will lose money. When you are in practice and in the unions, we are very strong because we could explain the benefits for the patient. And the academic, the teaching hospital, they develop a lot of very important paper because when I went in the health minister, I have a paper wrote by Thierry to say, look, it's very important to develop this kind of endoscopy. So we know, we both well. And to be a union leader, you can, I may say, defend the endoscopic income compared to radiologists, to surgeons. It's really a both team.
Yes. But you realize that I always try to take into account the fact that my colleagues should be sufficiently paid, or not paid themselves, but the institutions should be sufficiently paid to provide good health care for the patient. And this was also my wish, and I did my best. Combine together with you. Okay?
Exactly.
You working and you negotiated with the Ministry of Health, and I provided the guidelines and the law. So we should work like this, and for this we should be the procedure should be well reimbursed.
Yeah, and it's why in France, compared to other countries like Germany, the endoscopy reimbursement is much higher in France than in Germany because we both, since it was 30 years ago, we start really to move together. When we start the ESGE, we start with the guideline, and the guideline is very important. I remember when we have the guideline for the prion, it's really we have to work and fight with minister, because the people that don't know endoscopy, they say we should stop endoscopy right now, and we have to show the benefits for health population of endoscopy, diagnosis, and therapeutic endoscopy compared to the risk of prion. But it was very hard work, very hard between with your support and my support as union leader to explain the minister. We have a lot of civil servants, they don't know nothing about endoscopy, and at that time they were really to stop endoscopy and to say, okay, if you have a patient suspect of prion, you burn your scope. Mm-hmm. Remember?
Okay. Yeah, but things are easier at the level of the France or Germany, at a nation, more difficult at the level of Europe.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that in the future it will evolve, and gastroenterologists, doctors working both in private practice and working also at the level of scientific society will be very helpful for the future of the practice. So, congratulations, Jean-Francois, because at this time you were unique, okay, 20 years ago, but I hope that in the future we will have several Jean-Francois Rey to combine both activities.
Just another point. When I start my private practice, 40 years after, I'm still enjoying doing endoscopy. My colleague in private practice, they just do private practice, sometimes they get boring and say, oh, again, one day of endoscopy. Because when you are in private practice, but a union leader or teacher in many endoscopic events, even next day gastroscopy is still unusual.
Yeah, okay. So, thank you very much, Jean-Francois. It's my pleasure. I'm very pleased you come to ESGE Days, and very frequently. It's a great signal for me that you participate. And we will continue to work together and to discuss together. And I think there is a room for a forum dedicated to private practice in Europe at the level of ESGE. And you should be part, of course. Okay? So thank you very much.
Okay,
have a nice meeting. Have a nice day.
Thank you.